I'm ready.
Yes, sir.
And Dr. Anaga, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay, right. So here we go. My first talk is about an interior chamber maintainer. And with experience of over a last couple of hundred cases, we in our group have told all our doctors that the moment you see a PCR, the first step should be to put in an interior chamber maintainer with a low bottle height to stabilize the chamber. So, on noticing a PCR, form the chamber with Visco before taking out your instruments from the AC. Then insert an ACM attached to the lowest bottle height you have on your IV stand. So just let the bottle drop to the lowest level. That would be your required level. So 30 centimeters of bottle height is equal to 21 millimeters of IOP. Now 30 centimeters is just 1 feet. Now evaluate the damage and plan your strategy. So once you have an ACM in place, then relax. Look at your eye carefully, plan, talk to your peers or somebody senior, and then go in for the next steps. Now this is the bottle height which is at its minimum. We have let it come down. And how do we calculate the bottle height? The bottle height is not calculated from the level in the bottle. Sorry. So the level in the bottle is here, but the bottle height is what is in the drip area, this area. So from this point in the drip area to the level of the eye is the bottle height. And 30 centimeters actually just 1 feet. So if a person is lying on a table here, and considering that his head is up by another 10 inches, so this to this is your bottle height. Now this is a range of bottle heights for different heights, and what is important to notice that in a normal phacoemulsification, which is gravity fed fluid, the bottle height is usually at 110, and this is an eye opener. It gives an IOP of 80, which is very high. So if you are on a gravity fed system, bring your bottle to about 75, which is giving you an IOP of 55, or even less if you can afford to have your chamber stable. Since you have an ACM in position, you can even bring this down to 60, because ACM is also covering up for your chamber maintenance. A small video to give you this example in an animated form. Okay, so the advantage of an ACM is it prevents shallowing, resultant forward movement of the posterior capsule and the spread of breath. No need to fill the AC with visco every time we move an irrigator out of the eye. Maintains a physiological pressure of 21. So when you have a physiological pressure of 21, it prevents or reduces vitreous hydration, swelling, and further prolapse of the vitreous. This is very important. you must have noticed that in case of any rents and a vitreous loss in the eye and the vitreous is prolapsing, grade 1, 2, 3, in an eye that prolapse usually does not extend over months and years, despite the fact that the eye has an IOP of 21. So probably at an IOP of 21, the vitreous does not get hydrated and it maintains its position. Then we have to do a hydro insertion of the IOL. That means inserting an IOL without the visco, so that reduces the risk of visco falling in the vitreous cavity and causing secondary inflammation and rise of IOP. So So that was showing you the advantage of putting an ACM and then using a vitrector as an irrigation aspiration instrument and as a vitrectomy instrument all in one, so that you don't have to come in and out of the eye again and again. So here's a very interesting video where I'm using the same principle. I'm using the 23 gauge vitrector in the IA cut mode. That means in foot pedal 2, it is in the IA mode, and in foot pedal 3, it is in the vitrectomy mode. So in the IA mode, it is working like an irrigation aspiration cannula. And see how comfortably it works as an irrigation aspiration cannula. Now, since my chamber is stable with an interior chamber maintainer, in the left hand, I have a rod or a phaco probe, and in the right, this instrument, and that makes everything so simple. So this lens is going under BSS. No visco used here. And then I feel that there is enough posterior capsule support to hold this lens in the capsular bag, and therefore I place it in the capsular bag. Great. So the lens is perfectly in position. However, don't take this situation with and on its face value. See what happened. The next day, there was no IOL in the bag, and the IOL had slipped into the vitreous. So when you place a lens in the bag, you have to be fairly sure that the bag will sustain it. Otherwise, it is best to go into the sulcus to fix a lens. So here is another small, short video which will show you a situation where a PC rent has occurred. It hasn't spread. There was no vitreous in the working area. And this is a video of the time when I was not using an interior chamber maintainer. And my target here is that I see this PC rent and I see the edge and I want to conquer that edge. That means I want to convert that edge into a continuous rhexis so that it doesn't spread out to the periphery. So to do this, you have to be in retroillumination, increase the magnification, and you use micro forceps from the side port, hold the edge and turn it around. So PCR to P CCC. And that makes your job look so simple. You can continue removing your cortex and put the lens in the bag. Another video which will really show you the importance of this technique is a PCR. The pupil is small, anterior chamber is in position. You notice that I'm using a trocar anterior chamber maintainer. I remove the cortex as before by using the vitrector in the IA mode. I can even push the foot paddle to the position 3 to cut and aspirate a thicker cortex. The chamber is so stable, so that takes the stress out of a PCR situation in a cataract surgery. So it almost feels that you are working in a normal environment. This air bubble is an obstruction to your view. So whenever an air bubble comes in, you should immediately remove it so that your view is not obstructed. And see the way you're removing the cortex as if no PCR was there, and you're just slowly going about it as you would have normally gone in a normal cataract surgery. But still you see a daunting PCR. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So once all this cortex is removed, now is the real part I really want to show you. And since it is a small pupil, I use a Y pusher because my left hand is free. The ACM is maintaining the chamber. and see all that hidden amount of cortex, which in a normal situation I would have left behind because I would not have wanted to do so much of manipulations. But here it's almost like working with three hands. The cortex is out, but still I feel there is some lurking cortex. So, and there it is. So the amount of cortex which was hidden could have caused problems, but which comes out with this technique so well. And then you can place an IUL in the back. Doing a little vitrectomy. The next thing is, what kind of an ACM should we be using? This is an anterior chamber maintainer which we have been so used to seeing and using for years together. Somebody suggested to use a trocar, so we started using a trocar, but we found that the inner blade was too long, so we shortened the blade to make it more useful, and we also shortened the length of the cannula. So, but see, the direction of the fluid is making the posterior capsular tears gape. And that is not a good idea to direct the stream on the posterior capsule. So we changed the design, we blocked the tip, and we made the opening in the side like an irrigation cannula in a bimanual IA system. And we created a hub there, but we found an insertion of this system a little troublesome. We needed some better instruments. So we changed the design, removed the hub, and made it into a sleek system like this. And the size was small, just about 3 millimeters, with 1.5 in the eye and 1.5 in the incision. So this worked very well, but however, the insertion was not very comfortable. We could have done with a better insertion, but the visibility was perfect. So we developed a special holder, a special forceps by which we could insert this anterior chamber maintainer angled to one side, so it at any given time maintains the chamber but does not obstruct the visibility. And this is what we are using now. Another short video shows a same difficult situation, a PCR, that means the phaco tip hit the posterior capsule, and what looks like a very troublesome situation, a lot of vitreous in the anterior chamber. This vitreous we are removing in the cut IA mode, which is the normal mode to use when vitrectomy is the primary thing. So first cut and then IA. So you've done an anterior vitrectomy, gone through the tear and done a surface anterior vitrectomy there. And then once your area is clear of the vitreous, here again I see the rent, and I feel that probably I can control the rent from running out, the posterior capsule rent. But my chamber is so stable that I can comfortably remove the cortex. The rent has not shown any tendency to move out. The rent is on both sides and it has not moved out. So probably I can control both the edges. Let me see if I can do that. So the system is retroillumination, increase the magnification, and then without visco, just under hydration by the ACM, I hold the rent and convert the edge into a rounded end so that it doesn't run off. This is one side. And this is the other side. So that makes I have won the battle of a very tricky situation. And then putting in the lens as usual. The lens opens up in front of the iris. All under fluid, under ACM, no visco, so no risk of visco falling in the vitreous cavity. Now bring it, dial it under the iris so that it comes into the sulcus, and then do a optic capture in the CCC. And with all these efforts, a very tricky case feels as if it was just a routine cataract surgery. No stress, no pressure. Carefully continue doing your surgery. Thank you so much for patient listening.
Wonderful presentation.
Hi, Dr. Sonu. How are you? Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, sir. Wonderful presentation.
Lovely, sir. Great videos.
Or just wondering, under hydro, you could carve out the posterior axis. That was really wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. So the idea was not to use a visco because then visco falls into the vitreous cavity and causes a lot of problems.
True, very true. But I think only in expert hands like you can really navigate that. Otherwise, you end up disturbing the vitreous space.
Possible, yeah. It need a little more of control and experience, yes.
So wanted to ask you one more question. When you are converting the PCR to a PCC,
Yeah.
2 points I wanted to ask you. One is, there could be areas where there is no place to hold it. So do you actually create a flap so that you can hold it and pull it around? Number one. And second question is, have you had a situation where you tried to do a PCC, but it got extended and then the rent, which was probably small, became so big and went out of control?
Yeah, so initially when we were not using these techniques of low IOP and vitrectomy and removing all pressure on the posterior capsule from the vitreous, many a times we tried doing a PCC and it ran out. But ever since we have done this low IOP management, and we have done a vitrectomy in front and behind and cleared the edges of the posterior capsule here, then one can comfortably hold and turn it around. We had never really tried to make another incision and take it around, because if the plexus is run out, then you can't do much about it. But if it is midway, there would be a edge which you can hold. And if there's no edge to hold, then probably it's not running out any further.
Right. May I add something? Hi,
Yeah.
Dr.
Hi,
Sanjay.
hi, how are you?
Hello, sir. Good morning,
Fine,
Dr.
thank you.
Ved.
Welcome.
Yeah, I think what Dr. Anaga has said is a very valid point, because what happens in the initial stages and at times also, you are not able to hold it. And even if you hold it, it tries to, run away sort of. So lately what I have started doing, and I feel that I've become more consistent with my approach, and that is the posterior capsule should not be highly concave. That is the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing is I use the side port micro forceps which you were using. And then another important thing, which is a very small thing, but for audience this would help, increase the magnification. Then continuously go on refocusing, because at times the focusing also gets defocused. So minor focusing, apt focusing, and then holding it really helps at times. Dr. Naga, anything else you would like to add to it?
No, I agree, sir. Absolutely. Because I think these tips are so really important because at that point of time, unless you know exactly what you want to do, you can easily go out of control and the situation can become more complicated.
And one last thing, the vitreous should never be around. So that can also create a problem. So with the after visualization staining, if you are sure, then only, it becomes easy. I have seen a video of in last AIOS, they had a course of doing PCC, and it was amazing how they do it, without they do it in a routine patient. So what I personally feel for this thing is that for those who have never done PCC, in such a situation, it can be taxing. So you should try to do PCC as such also in normal patients. So that will create a less pressure cooker situation for those who are starting doing PCC. Uh, Dr. Sanjay, your thoughts about it?
Yeah, but you know what? It is very difficult for a person who thinks his PC is intact to create a rent and
Not a
do
rent,
it.
a routine
Create a tier,
PCC, a
control
routine
tier.
PCC. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So to maintain the continuity and to break a continuity, it really needs kind of guts unless you are in controlled supervision.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, but if it's a lesser pressurized situation, if you do it where you feel everything is fine, the pressure is fine, well, the cataract was mature somehow, and the patient is not demanding at times. It is not a patient with a high myopia, not the axial length is less, so that you have to get the hang of it. This is what I'm trying to say.
So another thing, what one Dr. Naga would be talking about is going through the pars plana and removing all the visco from under the capsule, which is a which is supposed to be a better technique to manage the vitreous around the posterior